What's up, guys? Welcome to the Video Game Analyst. This is actually our first video in what is hopefully going to be a series of videos. And I'm here with John Birch.
Hey, what's going on?
And my name is Chris Crone. And what we're going to be talking about basically today is pricing in video games. There's a lot of video games out there, a lot of videos out there on reviewing games, playing games, etc. And what we thought we would talk about is the pricing trends of games, which is one thing I know well. I own Retro Games Plus, which we're sitting in right now. John here works with me here. And so I've been following the pricing of video games over the last 8 to 10 years. And just thought maybe it would be a good time to sit down and kind of explain some of the current trends, what's going on with the market, with some of the systems and the games. So really this video is probably for collectors. You could be a reseller. There's plenty of resellers out there, plenty of people always hunting for games. What was a game that might used to have been $5 that might be $20 now? And what are some of those upper level tier games that you might want to look for? I do want to say that it is July 2016. This is a pricing video. So if you watch this 4 years from now, you go, what the heck were those prices? Remember, it's 2016 now. So that's pretty important to know. Just a little bit about ourselves. I figure if you want to say 30 seconds about who you are, what you do.
Yeah, as he said, I've been working here for about a year now almost, and I've been collecting PS2 since when I was in high school, just as a cheap way to pick up these games, and I'm looking at almost 400 games in my collection now, trying to get some of the more expensive stuff. So
400 PS2 games?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I figured it's a good place to start collecting for a lot of people who are looking to get a jump on this stuff.
Most impressive collection. I didn't know you had 400 games.
Almost, man. Working on it.
That's pretty impressive. So for those of you that don't know, there's about 1,900 games in the PS2 library. So 400 is a pretty massive collection of them. What we're going to do again, talk about pricing. What we use for pricing is there's two good ways. One great site is Video Game Price Charts. If you haven't heard of it, you should check it out. It has current trending and pricing for pretty much every video game that's available. It's a great tool. What it essentially does is pull sold listings from the internet, whether it be eBay. It shows current pricing for Amazon. It shows some GameStop stuff on there. But it is a great tool, and again, it shows sold listings. So when we're talking about pricing and what the current pricing is of games, it's not what people are asking. It's necessarily what things have sold for. PlayStation 2. Little history on PlayStation 2. Many of you have probably played it. It is the best-selling console ever. So it sold 157 million units. It's been around since March of 1999. Tons of great games. And they didn't discontinue production of it until 2013. With that said, just overall, what has happened with PS2 since it ended in 2013? Basically what you've seen, in my opinion of it, over the last 3 years, if you started to see an increase in PS2 pricing. And it's not necessarily a huge increase yet, but some of those games that were maybe like $4 or $5 2-3 years ago were probably $6, $7, maybe even $8, $9 games. They have a good tool on video game price charting, which is you can go back to they have a chart, and you could look in 2013. The average price of a PS2 game was about $5, and the average price, if you look at this chart, it's almost like a stock chart, and it's gone up to about $7, which is, believe it or not, is a 40% increase in the price of PS2 games in just 3 years. So why has this happened? What do you think?
Well, these games are actually getting popular. I think a lot of people found out that this was a great console to collect for, and cheap as well too, and I think that's a big factor into watching a system increase in value. You take a look at other consoles that have spiked in the past. The Super Nintendo, for a long time, people were picking it up. You know, you see those Funko ads from like the 90s. Things were like $2-3. And now those prices have skyrocketed because people were able to get them for cheap. Like when the GameStop kind of started killing off their PS2 stock.
You know, that's a great point.
That's
I didn't
exactly
even think about that. When GameStop stopped selling PS2 games, all of a sudden you couldn't regularly get them as much.
And that's when prices spike.
Yeah, because what happens when you can't get, people need to go to flea markets, they need to go to video game stores like this, they need to go to the internet to find them. It's not readily available, all those games.
And these people can start calling their own prices. The games that you don't find that often, take for example, quick Rule of Rose. Used to find that thing in GameStop for about $15 to $20 every single time, and so people can kind of charge whatever they want for a game like Rule of Rose because of how few quantity or how few copies of the games there are.
So that's a good example. That's a game that's probably worth a lot because it's rarity.
Exactly.
And it's also a pretty good game.
It's a fantastic game.
So some other reasons why this has happened, why have prices gone up? There's amazing RPGs for this system, amazing survival horror games like we just talked about, Rule of Rose, which I'm a big fan of. There was some awesome 3D platformers. You had the Spyros, the Ratchet and Clanks.
Oh yeah.
And so one other thing to note, there was two systems that came out at the same time. Xbox Original, PS2. They competed against each other for a long time. Obviously, there was GameCube in there too.
Yeah, that was just kind of there though.
But
Like Nintendo.
Of the three of them, PS2 definitely won that battle. And even today, you look at Xbox Original pricing, and it is
Cheap. Very cheap.
It's never gone up. And there's a lot of the same games that are on PS2 that are on Xbox Original, and they just have not gone up in price the way they have on PS2. Just wanted to mention that. And with that, we wanted to jump into actually discussing some of these titles individually. So again, these are games to look out for, games that have probably gone up in price. So here's a game, Bloody Roar 4. This was a game that back in 2013 was around a $15 game. And what you have today is this game has essentially gone up to around 35 bucks. Next one we were going to talk about, don't have this one in person, but Castlevania Curse of Darkness. I've actually never played that game. I wish I had. I love the Castlevania series. Have you ever played it?
I beat it actually. Beat it like a couple of years ago. It's a fantastic game.
Okay. So let me just tell the pricing on this. So this game was always like a $7, $8, $9 game. I mean, I used to see this game everywhere.
That's when I picked it up.
It was always common. Had cool cover art. And again, I used to see it everywhere. I don't know if everybody just scooped it up because it was Castlevania, but all of a sudden this is now a $20 game. So if you do see that one out there, definitely pick it up. So next one we wanted to talk about Chulip. Another game I've never played, which John, you actually have.
Just picked this one up today, actually. This is weird. So,
what's it about, real quick?
You're a kid who moves into a new town with your dad, and you're both extremely poor. But you find this one girl that you just instantly fall for, and you have to kind of go around and befriend everybody in the town in order to get your reputation up, in order to kiss the girl. It's the cheesiest thing, but it's made by Natsume, it's made by Marvelous, the same dudes who did the Harvest Moon game. And if there's anybody who can take a really like cheesy, lighthearted concept like that and turn it into something original and funny, I'm giving it to them.
Natsume. Nice.
Yeah.
So this game, back in 2013, was like a $7 game. I never saw it that often. I can't say it's a very common game.
Not at all.
I've barely ever seen this game. So I would say the fact that it's rare and probably a little bit abnormal, this is one of those ones that I think is going to continue to rise in price. It's a $45 game now. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing is up to 60, 70
Oh
bucks.
yeah, I can already see it on Amazon.
Echo Night Beyond, which I think you have.
That I do.
I assume this is a survival horror game. Again, I've never played it. It looks really awesome. I've hardly ever seen this game. Maybe a couple times. This one back in 2013 was like a $15 game. Looking at like a $49.95 game right now, $55 game.
It's still going up.
All right, next one. I think you have this one too, John. King's Field.
That I do.
Which I think is King's Field Ancient City. This again, another one. I wish I'd played this one. Can't say that I have. But let me see the pricing on this one. Back in 2013, we were looking at around a $12 game. This has gone up to around $29.95, so around $30. And next one, this is going to be our big one. This is probably one of the most expensive, probably the second most expensive game on PS2, which is Kuon. Another survival horror game. This one has just skyrocketed in price. Back in 2013, around 3 years ago, this was a $30 game. You're looking at around 150 bucks for this game now. I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes up to $200, $250 game.
I think
just the way it's been trending right now. So
I think so. This is another one, again, From Software slapped their name on it. And I think two of the biggest combinations of price increase on the PS2 are survival horror and From Software. And this is just kind of the perfect storm of that, and a couple big YouTubers definitely giving this game some good exposure.
This is a more common game. I figured instead of doing all the top ones, but just some common. There's a ton of these games that were $5, $6 that are now $12, $14 games. One example of this, Mercenaries, pretty common game. I used to see it all the time, even though we don't even have it in our store now. It seems like a lot of these titles are just selling, but this is like a $12, $14 game. I want to mention these, the Midway Arcade Treasures 2 and 3. These are kind of the pack games that have multiple games on them, so you're getting probably, what are on those, maybe 20, 30 games on each one of those?
The first two, yeah. The third one is actually a bunch of 3D racing games that came out later in Midway's Arcade Life.
Yeah, this is kind of a trend amongst all the systems. All these the packs, whether it's the Dreamcast collection or any of these collection games, the Television Lives or any of these, all seem to be going up in price. Again, you're getting a good bang for your buck.
Oh,
Probably
definitely.
getting 20, 30 games of these. So, a few years ago, these were about $5, $6 games. You're looking at around $10 to $12, $14 games now. So again, doubled probably in the last few years. But we did want to talk about a couple of the NBA Streets, Volume 2 and 3, which were pretty good games. They were always $3, $4, $5 games. They've actually gone up to about $13 games now. So you've seen a jump in those. Then we'll get into the RPGs. We haven't touched too much on them. There's been a lot of survival horror, but the RPGs on PS2 were amazing. I'm just going to read off a few of them. Radiata?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Radiata. I want to say. I'm just going to roll with that.
Radiata Stories. $10 game, now a $20 game. There was Shadow Hearts, that's always gone up.
Got that one with me.
Yeah, the Shadow Hearts series have always gone up in price. They've really started hitting like the $40, $50 range now on some of these titles. Well, let me mention some 3D platformers. Ratchet & Clank Size Matters. This was always like a $10 game, about a $15 game now. A couple other ones that were kind of surprising, but Scarface,
Yeah.
believe it or not. This was, we used to have stocks of Scarface in the store. Tons of them. So not an uncommon game, but for whatever reason, it's gone from about a $7 game up to around a $15 game.
I think people realized it was just a more over-the-top GTA, and they finally just jumped on
Yeah,
it.
I've never played it, and I always thought, why didn't I play it? But
Dude, you can shoot people's arms and legs off in that game.
Really?
It's fantastic. It's awesome.
the Spyro titles, all of them have gone up from the PS1 to the PS2. Everything Spyro has just doubled in price. So definitely keep an eye out for any of the Spyros. They're just really popular. They're fun games.
Yeah,
too.
that's exactly it.
And just last couple here, but believe it or not, WWE games. Here comes the pain, believe it or not. $20 game. This was always a $5 game.
Yeah.
WWE SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth. $8 game. I think that's the one we have.
Yeah.
Not huge, but I mean, it was like a $3, $4 game.
Yeah, it's an
As common
increase,
as can
man.
be. And then these two, WWE, SmackDown versus Raw, 2010, 2011. Again, late releases, kind of like the sports titles, which I guess you could call wrestling a sport.
Hey, man, I'll call them sports games, wrestling games.
But $10, $15 games now,
Yeah.
believe it or not. So Yakuza 1, we used to see this game like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was not an uncommon game.
Not
by
at
any
all, man.
means. And it's gone from a $7 game, it's a $25 game now. So definitely keep an eye out for that one. So that's pretty much it for the PS2. I mean, again, there is hundreds. I mean, I have a list here with tons of games that went up in price. We picked a small selection of them. Overall, keep an eye out on PS2.
Yeah, seriously.
There is definitely some high resale value. I think you're going to continue to see the games go up in price. Again, great playability too. It's not like you're buying these games just to put on a shelf. You can actually play a lot of these games. Like I would love to go back and play Kuon, Obscure.
Yeah, exactly.
And check these games out.
Every single game we've listed here that I have on this table, I absolutely love them all.
Expect those $30 to $40 titles are going to start becoming $50, $60, $70, $80 games.
That's how Kuon and Rule of Rose became a thing.
It's bound to happen. I mean, I remember when Rule of Rose was a $100 game. Now it's $150. Then it's now it's a $200 game.
Yeah.
Kuon just exploded.
That all happened at once.
Yeah, when you see those games around the $30, $40, $50, they're not going to go down in price. They're not printing any more of these, so you're going to see them go up. Overall, still a good system to get into, though, if you're looking to collect,
Definitely.
resell, whatever it is you're looking to play. You can still get a lot of these games while they're still kind of cheap.
Yeah, there's
$10
still
games before they become $20, $25, $30.
There's still a lot of good $5 entry-level
$6.
games. Looking at the Medal of Honors, the Call of Duties, a lot of stuff like that. I'm looking over at the shelf. Most of this stuff's under $10, and I'd still recommend it.
That's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next Video Game Analyst video. We're probably going to be talking about Xbox 360. Might be John, might be back with me again. And what is going on with that system? Are titles going up for Xbox 360? Are they going down? Because we are going to Xbox One. The Xbox One is out in full force now. So again, Xbox 360, something to keep an eye out for. And other than that, please like the video, subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Sounds good. Have a good one, guys.
All right, take care.